Okay, I think we can start. So, good morning to everyone here. I think we are around 75 people now in this room. Thank you all for coming and joining us today to celebrate this global event dedicated to Eric Grimm. My name, for those that don't know me, is Graciela Gil Romero, and together with my colleague Thomas and other people involved in the organization, as Suzette Frantua, we will be moderating this section of the event dedicated to the role of Eric in Europe and the European Pollen Database. So this all-around meeting that brings us here today really highlights Eric's contribution to paleoecology, palynology, and in general, open data as truly worldwide reaching. I have some announcements before we start. First, I would like to remind you that this European section will be running from 11 to 3 p.m. in Central European summertime, and that we have an excellent representation of speakers that were close to Eric in one or another way, either personally or professionally. We will have some talks focused on the early days of the EPD to begin with, so from people that was involved in the origins of it more than 30 years ago sometimes. And we will then move to presentations by members of the current EPD community that are both contributing, curating, and using the database to make great science. Following this, we have a blog where we will be listening to more awesome science that can be done using large pollen datasets for answer pressing environmental questions. We will also have short contributions from people that are either very close to Eric or friends, and they can tell us how great Eric was. If you have any questions, please make them in the chat using the @ symbol and then writing the name of the speaker next to it. The speakers will remain available for some time after their talks finished so they can answer questions. All sessions around the world will be recording, so we are recording this too, and there will be available in a YouTube channel that I will paste now in the chat in a minute, and I will have a slide running every so often, letting you know both the schedule and also the YouTube channel. What else do we have here? Yeah, we encourage you to check also the website dedicated to this memorial event, where you will find our schedule and all others for the different regions. If you happen to have photos from Eric and want to share them, you can send this to the email address that I will also paste at the beginning or at some point in the chat, and I will have in a slide. And last announcement, or almost last announcement, the American Quaternary Association has a memorial fund where you can make donations that will be destined to the next generation of quaternary scientists, so to make awards or to fund little projects. Besides the talks and personal notes, at the end of the meeting, we will raise a glass or a cup or whatever you have to drink. So we will make a toast to Eric's memory as a closing note. Now, before we start, I would like to remind the audience to please keep their microphones muted and their cameras off to ease the communication here. And Thomas will be now briefly introducing how instrumental was Eric for the European Pollen Database community. So who was Eric for us? And Thomas, if you want.
Thank you, Graciela. So when putting this session together, we of course asked ourselves, so who was Eric for us? And it was also Suzette who pointed that out, that this is a good question to ask and maybe to start with. And most people, I think, know Eric as Mr. Telia. He was the person that created one of the first software packages to make nice pollen diagrams. And for some older colleagues, this may have been a milestone in changing from a hand-drawn pollen diagram by using a large computing facility to create a diagram than to be able to just do it on your own PC. There were, and of course are, other programs available, but Telia has evolved, or Eric has evolved Telia, and he's also put in statistical means like the constraint cluster analysis, and so also made these tools available to a large community of palynologists, which he then trained. So for many Eric with Mr. Telia. To many in Europe, Eric was also a friend. He worked and taught in many places. He spent 2 years as a postdoc in Cambridge and probably made many friends there, some of which we'll be speaking today. But as Graciela already mentioned, for us as the European Pollen Database, Eric had played a very important role in its creation. He's been there from the beginning and throughout the end. Well, throughout the end, sorry, there is no end to be seen, I hope. I'm sharing my screen now, and you should be seeing 2 PowerPoint slides that are created. And there is a picture of the open meeting in 2007 with Eric in the background. But also Eric was there at the very beginning at a workshop that sort of set out the organization of the European Pollen Database in 1989. You see his name on the participant list. Even at the next meeting, oops, now I need to change these over. At the next meeting in Wilhelmshaven, Eric was there taking the minutes, so he was able to provide us with these outline of the proposed workshop. And not just taking the minutes, Eric also sort of elaborated on the philosophy of a relational database and his table structure and design, and probably convinced the Europeans to follow his ideas and set up the database in the way that he had envisaged. We will probably hear more about this from Rashid, but before we go into the speakers presenting the European Pollen Database as such, we start before that era with close friends, I believe, of Hilary and John Bergs, who want to talk a little bit about the time in Cambridge and his achievements as a scientist. So Hilary, John, if you're there, please take the screen and start your presentation. John, Hilary?
Yeah, I think they have to unmute themselves. Or you can unmute them if you want, Thomas.
Just say hello, everybody.
Hello. Yeah, we can hear you now. Yes.